Hello again, YouTube land. That background noise effect you hear is the extreme rain that's intermittently starting and tapering off and starting again, which is expected to continue throughout the day in excessive wave after excessive wave. There it goes again, toning down. It has been quite a while since I've sat at my computer and recorded a vlog update. It's also been like 2 weeks since the last time I posted. For those who give a damn, I apologize for the delay. For those who don't, be real, you didn't miss me. Life in the house is adjusting. Rizzo is still figuring out when and where to go to the bathroom. Although for 3 weeks now he's been officially allowed to go outside for walks, so I try to take him out 2 or 3 times a day since I'm home. I am figuring out the body clock that he runs on and how to mix it with my timetable. Meaning, if I feed him and then get myself together, shower, dressed, etc., it's probably going to be too late, almost, to take him out for a walk after that. But if I do all that, then feed him, then get him to run around chasing a toy for 5 or 10 minutes, it speeds the process up a little bit, accounting for the time difference. Then I can take him out, and it works out pretty well. But we're still on that initial process of figuring out what hand cues mean, what word commands mean. He and I have gotten a lot closer on an energy level where I can strongly think what I want him to do. This is absolutely true. I can strongly think what I want him to do, and he'll generally get it. He honestly will. I don't have to shout at him. I don't have to, be aggressive. I have to be consistent. And, pets being so very much like children, whether they be what you consider 4-paw children or 2-paw human children, consistency and repetition are going to be the biggest things. And if you get frustrated by having to deal with that, you're never going to have an easy life of it with pets in the house. And I've grown up with cats who I've trained to do plenty of interesting tricks. And that was through consistency and repetition. Admittedly, I've never had a dog before Rizzo, but the premise carries over because it's a tangent of positive and negative reinforcement, which is a premise I've understood most of my life and also used in personal relationships most of my life. The vast majority of humans I've ever dealt with aren't going to realize that I've been using positive and negative reinforcement on them to encourage and alternately discourage behaviors. But I do, and I always have. And it works to a point, but when you do it with humans, you really can't be as in the face as you can with pets, because humans have a lot more overcomplicated psychology to how they deal with the world. With pets, there's no gray, there's no waffling or, figuring out which side of the line to be on and which is the better side for you in the long term or in this particular battle. Or, pets are companions. They should be treated as well as you would want to be treated, which is how I, again, deal with all living creatures. So, we're doing okay. Sam still has a lot of hyper energy around him. So this morning, Rizzo made his first real escape attempt. I walked out the door before Sam. Rizzo was sitting behind Sam on the floor, as I told him to. And no sooner did we both get out the door, but I turned around, and there's Rizzo, sniffing at Sam's feet, outside the apartment door. So I immediately said his name as the door shut, and Sam went, "Ah, shit." Pulled out his key, opened the door back up. Rizzo got back in the apartment. But I've very clearly got the impression it's got to do with Sam's energy, because he's quiet as he is in public, I know that inside he is a genuinely frenetic kind of person. He has a lot of trouble focusing, being concise, thinking of, the right word or wording. It doesn't come to him quickly and easily. So I know his energy is frenetic. And obviously the animals know that. Tribble's gotten used to it. She's been here 2 years now, more than. Rizzo is both new and a baby, technically speaking. He's only, 4.5 months old? So he will quickly and easily get caught up in Sam's energy, which, is almost tidal in its effect, which is how he swooped right out the door with Sam when he left this morning. But I know that's part of it, a major part of it, because when I came home, about a half hour later, I walked in the door, having made a couple of shoe noises on the door because the lock was fighting me. But I come in the door entirely differently. So I come in, Tribble is fast asleep in Sam's chair, as always, and I walk in, and Rizzo is sitting in the middle of the living room floor, a good 30, 40 feet from me almost, and he's just sitting there like this. Tail on the floor, butt on the floor, looking at me through my chair. I come in, I take off my shoes, I put down my umbrella, I walk 2 steps over into plain view of him, and I said, "Come here." He happily walks right over, puts his feet up on my knee, ears back, calm and happy. "Hi, Mom, how are you?" He got a few scratches, put his feet down, started following me around. Right now he's napping in the bathroom, I think. So I know it's got something to do with Sam's energy. Oh, but what else has been going on the last couple of weeks? We went to Sam's cousin's bat mitzvah? Bar mitzvah. It was a female cousin. And we had to spend the weekend in Waltham, which is outside of Boston. So it was interesting for me because I really love New England. I mean, I spent more than 20 years living there. Admittedly, northern New England in Maine, but, my body after that long has genuinely acclimated to the weather patterns of New England. Because everywhere in the country, there are different expected seasonal ways of being. Winter in Maine is not winter in Florida. And winter in Texas is not winter in Seattle. You can't relate things like that. So after multiple decades in one place, my body has come to understand what acceptable temperatures are for a particular season. So getting to be in New England in spring was relatively comfortable, except the day of the actual birthday thing, it was like 90 degrees, which in New England, I talked to my dad the following day. He said, yeah, 90 in New England, nobody expects. That's just strange, period. And I completely agree with him, because here in New York, it's not common, but it's not as unexpected. Heat waves do happen here, But in Maine, a heat wave is several days between 78 and 87. That's a heat wave in Maine. If you crack 85, it feels really hot. If you crack 90 in Maine, oh dear God, it feels horrific. That close to Canada, on the Atlantic seaboard, it's painful. It's quite frankly painful. So that was extreme for my body. But yeah, and then there was a whole long discussion the drive home, because there was some information last minute. We thought we were going Friday night and Saturday night. And Sam had to go through a whole thing to get out of work early Friday and take off from a work-related event on Sunday that's usually mandatory. But it all came to pass, so we thought that's what the deal was going to be. Well, come to find out, on Saturday, we're invited to the brunch on Sunday that we knew was happening, but had been told we weren't going to. I have no idea whether or not we had or had not been invited up until that point, but the person having the brunch on Sunday personally invited us on Saturday at the birthday party. So it's not like we could at the last minute say, oh, but we didn't plan for that. It's a family thing. You have to go, especially me, because I'm one of the married-in family members. It's not like I can put my foot down and say, no, Sam, we can't spend extra time with your family. I want to leave. Because then I'm the family bitch, which, quite frankly, I might already be. But there's no reason to exacerbate the point. So I wasn't dressed the way I would have been if I'd known in the first place I was going, and I admit part of that is my fault. I should have accounted for the possibility we'd be invited at the last minute. I know what family I'm dealing with. I know the quirks of these particular relatives, and I didn't plan for it, so that's on me. But they didn't give me advance notice, which is on them. But the drive home became a thing because another family member who was there mentioned something about his relationship status, and it kind of set me off. And I mean, not like in an aggressive way. I wasn't mad at the family member for talking about their relationship. I was actually quite happy given the discussion, but just, it was one of those things where in the back of my mind, I couldn't help going through this period of poor me, jealousy kind of response, and it's taken me a lot of years to acknowledge and accept that I have those responses to things. Because my entire childhood, I was exceptionally shamed by my mother for reacting like, what about me? Why am I not important? Because my mother was such a Munchausen and Munchausen by proxy that if anything was about anyone but her, oh my God, did you catch hell? I mean, there was a time I was in the hospital, I'm not joking, 109 fever. They gave me children's Tylenol and sent me home. I don't know if it's because by the time I'd gotten to the hospital in late winter in Maine, my fever had naturally gone down briefly as a result to the exposure to the cold air outside, or if in part it was because it's a hospital we routinely went to and they didn't want my mother around, which could legitimately be a reason. But throughout that entire experience, it somehow became about my mother needing to be calmed down, and my mother being so frustrated and worried, and my mother needing to be comforted because poor her child was ill. It wasn't that I had a critical fever. No. They can give you something for that. Apparently I have something I have to mail, which I didn't know. Beautiful. And I don't know how long it's been sitting there, and I'm pretty sure it's the rent. Mother of God. Why doesn't he tell me these things? Or, mail it himself. This has been one of those days. Because after that whole conversation on the way home in the car, I just said, I'm done. I'm taking a week off. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. I'm not doing a fucking thing this week. I'm not. I'll do the laundry because I need clean clothes too. That's it. And I'm having another one of those days that makes me think, you know what? I really deserve to treat myself to like a week in Hawaii. Alone. Apparently I'm going back outside. I'll talk to you guys later.